Why, hello there. I'm Sin. We're in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. What I've finished, what I'm in the middle of, and what we're going to get into. Okay, so recently I finished a short little novella that was a witchy book and is the second in the series of the Threadneedle series, and that is The Hedge Witch by Carrie Thomas. And the first book in the series, Threadneedle, absolutely loved. I thought this one was all right. It's so small. It's like 100 something plus pages. And this gets into the character Rowan, which is introduced to us in the first book. And this could be, honestly, it's almost like a standalone. You don't necessarily need to have read the first book to read this one. And this one is called like book 1.5. So I think you could read this at any time. And this is supposed to take place before Threadneedle. So Rowan, she goes to stay the summer with her aunt, who is a hedge witch. She's kind of eccentric and weird, and her mom's sending her just so she can learn like another type of like plant magic, outside of what her family does. She goes there and she's kind of bummed because she's like, oh, this is supposed to be a big summer for me. I want to like make some friends because I don't really have any friends. She's kind of boisterous and just says what she's thinking all the time and kind of like is blunt and in your face, and that doesn't always rub people the right way. That's who she is. So that's maybe a reason she hasn't made a ton of friends. She doesn't conform to the norm. So anyways, she's like, ugh, now I'm not going to make any friends. She's like, I wanted to meet some boys. There's probably not going to be any boys in this tiny little Welsh town that she's going to. And so she goes there and she starts learning hedge magic from her aunt, and she does find some friends there and she makes some friends. And then there's also like some weird happenings that are happening around town that maybe the humans are starting to pay attention to, which is kind of bad. Like there's a lot of like witches in that town, but there's also humans, and the witches don't want the humans to know that magic's going on, because a lot of times too the humans will just explain it away and be like, they don't believe in magic, so it's like, oh, it must just be some weird phenomena that happened, who knows. But weird stuff keeps happening that keeps calling attention to it. And so at some point, like, Rowan's aunt's super worried about this, and then Rowan takes an interest in trying to figure out like who's doing this and why this is happening, and maybe helping to put a stop to it and all of that. And it was a cute book. Like, I enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a witchy and magical little novella, The Hedge Witch was pretty decent. But I liked the first book way better. All right. So right now I'm in the middle of what I'm reading for the Cryptid Readathon, which is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. And I didn't know that this was the frickin' pseudonym of Shauna Maguire. So Mira Grant, Into the Drowning Deep, mermaid horror. And I'm about 200 pages in. This book is about, there was an entertainment company called Imagine Entertainment, and they had gone to a place that was near the Mariana Trench to make a mockumentary about mermaids. And then when they went there, everybody disappeared and no one returned. The ship was found, it was all bloody, and then they found some video footage of these horrific, murderous mermaids. But everyone was like, oh, it's a hoax, this, that, and the other. Years later, they decided to send out an actually kind of like prepared expedition to see if the mermaids are actually there and exist and this, that, and the other. And then one of the people that's going, she had lost her sister when that had prior happened, so she wants to find out what happened and this, that, and the other. Are the mermaids real? She believes they are. There's a chunk of people that like believe they are, and then there's a chunk that go on this new expedition that just don't. And you know what? Bad stuff's gonna happen. So I've just gotten to the point where they know the mermaids exist, their protection system isn't working quite well, and screams have just started happening on the other side of the boat. That's where I'm at. I'm in the thick of the crap right now, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's a bigger book. It's on the bigger side. I would say it's like 400 plus pages. It was a little slow moving in the beginning, but now I'm pretty invested in seeing what's going to happen because it's getting wild. We've had our first death, but that was like someone who took a submersible like way down underwater, and they were trying to yell at her to come back, and well, she wouldn't come back. You shouldn't have done that. But anyway, highly enjoying that so far. I love me some good underwater horror. I am a big fan of underwater horror. If you like underwater horror, I have a video that I have some of my favorite underwater horror books. I'll link that down below in case you're interested in ever looking for some more underwater horror recommendations. All right, so now I have two books. I probably won't get into them right away because I'm in the midst of the Cryptid Readathon right now, so I'm reading more books that are about weird creatures that may or may not exist, both fiction books and nonfiction. So these books I got because if you've been around the channel, you know that I like to go to the library. And when I go to the library, which is basically every week, there's a sale area that I always go and look at because pretty much books are all like $1. Hardcover, softcover. So I'm going to show you my dollar finds. And it's funny because my prior find, one of them, was by the same author, and I didn't own a copy of the book that I found. It had been one that I had read a long time ago that I really loved, and it was super magical. And that book is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenson. This is a hardcover for $1. It's in great freaking shape. Go to the library. If they have a sale area, go look at the sale area. Like, even if there's nothing there, some weeks there's nothing there. But sometimes you find some good ones. If you don't know what The Night Circus is, it's such a magical read. I read this years ago and absolutely loved it. So this is definitely something I want to reread in the future. But I did get The Starless Sea by this author, which was my last dollar find, which was also a hardcover. So it still kind of blows my mind that that's a possible thing that we can do in this day and age, is get books for $1. But yeah, if you have a library near you, go, embrace it, love it. Anyways, so this book, I'm going to tell you the synopsis for it. The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it, no paper notices plastered on lampposts and billboards. It is simply there, when yesterday it was not. Within these nocturnal black and white striped tents awaits an utterly unique experience. A feast for the senses, where one can get lost in a maze of clouds, meander through a lush garden made of ice, stare and wonder as a tattooed contortionist folds herself into a small glass box, and become deliciously tipsy from the scents of caramel and cinnamon that waft through the air. Welcome to Le Cirque du Rêves. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Reves, and it has a weird, like, triangular thing over it. Reves? I don't know. Okay, so beyond the smoke and mirrors, a fierce competition is underway. A contest between two young illusionists, Celia and Marco, who have been trained since childhood to compete in a game to which they have been irrevocably bound by their mercurial masters. Unbeknownst to the players, this is a game in which only one can be left standing, and the circus is but a stage for a remarkable battle of imagination and will. As the circus travels around the world, the feats of magic gain fantastical new heights with every stop. The game is well underway, and lives of all of those involved, the eccentric circus owner, the elusive contortionist, the mystical fortune teller, and a pair of red-headed twins, born backstage among them, are swept up in the wake of spells and charms. But when Celia discovers that Marco is her adversary, they begin to think of the game not as a competition, but as a wonderful collaboration. With no knowledge of how the game must end, they innocently tumble headfirst into love, a deep, passionate, and magical love that makes the lights flicker and the room grow warm whenever they so much as brush hands. It's so imaginative and picturesque, and just like a artist painting a picture of some of the most magical things you can think about. And this book had like, I've talked about this other book before called The Winter Garden that was so bloody magical, it takes you to other realms. Like, that is going on in this book, and it's fantastic, and I loved it. It's been a long time since I read it, so I don't know how it'll hold up with a reread, but I would like to do that in the future and reread this one. So yeah, $1, The Night Circus. Okay, so next up, I have a book by an author that I recently read, and I haven't read their most popular book yet, which I do own, and that author is TJ Klune. And so I read the book by them called The Bones Beneath My Skin, and it was super weird and had to do with like aliens. So I loved it, right in my wheelhouse of weird. And I do have the book, The House in the Cerulean Sea. I have not read that yet, but I do intend to. But I found another one of their books, which is a series. This is the first book in the series, and I believe it actually says #1 on there. So appreciated, because yeah, if this was the second or third book, I would not have grabbed it. But it's really nice to know when it is. I want to read the first one and then see if I want to read more of the series, you know. So what is this about? Well, we have a wolf on the cover, and it's called Wolf Song, so I'm assuming it has something to do with wolves. So let's tell you about it. The Bennett family has a secret. They're not just a family, they're a pack. Wolf Song is Ox Matheson's story. Oxnard Matheson was 12 when his father taught him a lesson. Ox wasn't worth anything, and people would never understand him. Then his father left. His dad sounds like a winner. And by winner, I mean a-hole, who they're probably better off with not having in their lives. If you can't say anything nice, go away. Ox was 16 when the energetic Bennett family moved in next door, harboring a secret that would change him forever. The Bennetts are shapeshifters. They can transform into wolves at will. Drawn to their magic, loyalty, and enduring friendships, Ox feels a gulf between this extraordinary new world and the quiet life he's known. But he finds an ally in Joe, the youngest Bennett boy. Ox was 23 when murder came to town and tore a hole in his heart. Violence flared, tragedy split the pack, and Joe left town, leaving Ox behind. 3 years later, the boy is back, except now he's a man. Charming, handsome, but haunted. And Ox can no longer ignore the song that howls between them. This sounds like it'll be pretty good. So we'll see. I like weird stuff and I like stories about shapeshifters and whatnot. And I like this author. So excited to read this in the future. I mean, this is kind of cryptidy, but I have several other books that I need to read. So this one, maybe December. What are we most excited for? I think I'm most excited to get back into the mermaid horror I'm reading currently because it's got its teeth sunk into me. I love underwater horror. It is probably my favorite genre in horror if I had to choose. Just something about it, like what is in the depths of the ocean and like it's so creepy and claustrophobic and like you can't see. So it's like sense deprivation and it's terrifying, and I really like underwater horror. If any of those books sound interesting to you, definitely check them out. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.